just tell us, how was your trip?
It's a good trip, actually. It's been a hectic couple of weeks, I guess, finishing up at my old club, North Devils, and getting my head around things over here and watching a lot of footage, and trying to finish things well with my family as well, and spending a bit of time with those guys. So it's been busy. So it was good to spend some time on my own and just get my thoughts together as much as I could.
Sure, you've had a quick tour. What do you make of your new home?
I've literally just walked up the stairs to the presser, so I haven't done the full tour yet, which I'm eagerly awaiting. After this one, I had a quick visit to Kirkstall and met a couple of people down there, and it was good vibes and good rehab training session going on there.
I think you'll have to wait to meet the squad, won't you? Because are they off at the moment?
Yeah, there was. Well, it seemed like maybe half a squad worth of players were in there working on some individual things and some rehab. But the main group won't all be back until Thursday. What
will be your message to that squad when you get that group together?
I'm still working that out. What the key message is, but I'm keen to build on what's happened in the last few weeks. Like the performances have been strong and a lot of energy and effort gone into it, and really playing like a team. So I'm keen to spend some time with the coaches tomorrow, really talking through the things that they've been working on and the direction that they've been trying to push the group, and then working with that and adding to that, and certainly not looking to shift too far away from things as of Thursday. It'll be a gradual process on the back of some good work in recent weeks.
What can you say about the job that Jones has done?
Yeah, from afar, it's looked like a strong job. Tough gig for a youthful coach, but he's got such great energy and passion for the club, and lots of great ideas and values on life, really. And you can see that the team have been playing well together, fought through some adversity and got a couple of strong results on the back of probably a month or 6 weeks of work. It's been good connecting with Jamie and chatting through some stuff, but I've also given him that freedom. He's been running the show. He's just been keeping me in the loop a little bit and trying to educate me on what they've been working on and how he's trying to lead the group, to the start of the new regime, I guess, as of Thursday.
Now you've physically taken over, what will be the first task that you sort of set about?
The first thing is getting to know everyone, and building those relationships is something that is key for performance as a coach-player relationship, but also as a whole team. Everyone being connected is certainly something I'm big on. So spending time with the staff, getting to know the existing systems and structures, and then adding my own influence to that needs changing, initially. If not, it might be me fitting into the existing structures in some capacities. I eagerly await, catching up with the players for a chat. Those that, want to sit down and have a detailed chat, that's the best way to get to know guys. And I think that'll help me to be able to help them.
And I appreciate you still evaluating the situation, obviously, at the moment, and it's all very hectic. But do you get the sense that early on in the short term, there are some easy wins to be had, or do you feel like there might be a more tougher job early on?
I don't think there's any easy wins in professional sport. I think you come for the battle, and that's why you want to be part of professional sport, and is to compete, and that'll be the aim. Every week will be to improve and learn some lessons and to compete.
And you will know that you'll be getting 2 players back from suspension, and you've lost another 2, sadly. Will that be part of the message as well, to reinforce discipline going forward?
Yeah, sometimes in a combat sport such as ours, there's going to be the odd indiscretion that's somewhat unavoidable, but certainly being disciplined is something that the teams that I've always coached have generally low penalty teams and low suspension teams. So working through some things with individuals, but also as a collective group, players have to understand the impact it can have on the current match, but also on the current weeks. And, in some cases it means players that are, young and maybe don't need to be playing every week and now playing every week, so it stretches the club in lots of different directions at times. But, I also understand no one goes out there to get suspended. No one's doing it intentionally. So there's a mix there of learning the lessons, but also understanding the impact that it can have on the group.
And now you're here, Rohan, and you're sitting in the hot seat. What is the main emotion?
Excitement mostly, and the other part is just like having an open mind and trying to take in as much as I can to get to know everyone as quickly as I can.
Just wanted to ask you about one of the whole idea of recruitment that you're in now, and obviously the recruitment window has opened. Are you already looking at how you can strengthen the squad next year? But I suppose more pressing than that, are there any plans from your end to try and do some mid-season shuffling?
Those conversations will be something, to have in the next few days to check in with the status of players that are looking to be re-signed or that we want to re-sign. I'm not across that stuff just yet. So those conversations will be forthcoming. But I think every club is always, if there's an opportunity to strengthen your roster, you're always going to explore it, whether it's possible with salary cap and also with needs of the group is always going to be a priority as well. So understanding there's a bunch of young kids coming through as well, so you don't want to have too many people in their way.
Is it? Well, how high is it up your agenda in, say, the next week to have those conversations, or do you just feel right here, right now, there are bigger priorities to address?
Well, I think addressing people's future is always, it's a priority, but whether it needs to be done today or next week, the players that want to have a conversation with me about where do they sit in the future, I won't be able to be definitive today, but I can have a conversation with them and see what their thoughts are and where they want to go with their career and that kind of stuff. The ball can start rolling there a little bit when needed. But for me, it's that they're club decisions at this point in time. So having those conversations, in the coming days and weeks, I guess.
When the players do come back in, what will be the changes, the quick changes that you try and instill? I know you said there's no easy wins, but are there some quick changes you will look to make to try and get the ball rolling in terms of getting them to where you want them to be?
Yeah, I think there's some aspects of how we play that we can build on pretty quickly. The defence has been pretty strong of late. Scoring some more points will certainly be a priority going forward. But I look forward to catching up with the other coaches tomorrow and sitting down and going through some things and working through a bit of strategy there to work out. Those guys know the group better than I do. So which direction we go or how quickly we can move with certain aspects, I'll be guided by the players a little bit and the coaching staff as well.
I know that it's probably information overload at the minute and you'll still be getting used to some names, but have you got any sort of injury update for? I know there's a long list, but is there anyone who, besides the suspensions, the suspended players could be back for next week?
That's another conversation for later in the day, I believe. Spending some time with the medical team to get a bit of an update there around the return or the likely return. Probably not going to be too definitive. I wouldn't think today being Tuesday before we don't play until Sunday week. So I think we'll know more after Thursday's session and probably particularly after Saturday's session this weekend about who might be available for that next game.
How big a focus is that going to be as well? I know that JD asked you about suspensions and disciplinary, but there's been a lot of injuries over the last couple of years. Is that a department that you'll want to address and see if any improvements can be made there?
Yeah, I've had some good conversations with the medical team over the last week or so, just a few calls, and we're just getting to know each other and the style of operation that I'd like to sort of bring. And we've been very compatible on some of those chats, so on all of those chats actually. So that'll be a work in progress. Fortunate enough to have been around some really good programs over the years that have been very holistic and included the physical preparation and the coaching side of things, like very, very connected. So that'll be certainly the intention of our staff going forward. I'm not exactly sure how it has been in the past, and I'm more like looking forward. But taking care of the players and doing our best to have as many people available for selection as often as possible is certainly a priority.
And just finally from me, you mentioned that you'll be guided a little bit by the players and the coaches. I'm assuming that you want to be very hands-on with everything, but these first couple of weeks, you almost have to be a little bit more observing in how you take on this role rather than trying to jump in and implement everything straight away.
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know the answer to it 100%. It's one of those ones. I've been in lots of different jobs and the timings of them have been different. I went to the London Broncos in 2004 and it was July. I went to Bradford, it was May. These times of year aren't the easiest to know because you can't start like fresh from day one of preseason. So I'm keen to get my hands on it, but also to work with what's best for the team for the week ahead. It's not about what's best for me. It's certainly about what's best for the team going forward. So I feel one of my strengths has been adaptable and understanding of the situation and reading the room a little bit. So yeah, we'll work with it and we'll be a bit of a moldable plan in the next few days, particularly these first few sessions. I think will tell me quite a bit.
I was just going to ask you about your coaching philosophy. A lot of coaches, particularly in Australia, tend to prefer to see a highly structured form of the game, with their team more or less following a game plan, 100% with minimal risk and so on. But other coaches, such as your Uncle Tony, for example, tend to give players far more freedom on the pitch to take advantage of opportunities when they see them and not to be too afraid of, any errors that might flow from doing that. And I just wondered how your view is of that sort of thing. Are you a structure and process guy, or are you a guy who gives the players the chance to, do what they think best on the field?
I'd like to say a combination of the two, really. The teams I've coached the attack in, whether that be a head coach or in the NRL around the attack for a couple of teams over the years, that there's a system in place and there is structure, but the opportunities within it are a little more fluid than probably a lot of the modern games. So there is more scope for choice. Our game isn't black and white, so I try and teach the grey as much as possible, but within a framework that allows us to play as a team. If I don't buy into the just read and react and eyes up kind of footy, that doesn't tell you enough. There needs to be a structure and a system, but the freedom within it is where the fun comes. And I think it's also where the teamwork really comes out of. When there's choices to be made, that increases the need for each other to depend on each other in a team sense. So how it looks next week will be it'll be far different in a 6 weeks and 10 weeks and next season as well. That'll be a work in progress.
To what extent then do you expect the players to adjust to your demands as opposed to adjusting what you do to reflect the sort of playing staff that you've got at your disposal? What's the interaction between those two tendencies?
Yeah, well, that's the joy of coaching, isn't it? And that'll be one of my questions that I ask each player when I sit down with them. And what are your best plays? How do you play best? And that needs to fit into the framework of the team. So it won't be this is how we play. This is how I want you to play. This is how we play. And you can have two different halfbacks play from one week to another that are going to play differently. They're not going to try and play the same. I'll never ask someone to play like somebody else. They got their own individual style and talents but it has to fit within the team framework or structure.
And the other thing is, obviously, May the 1st is the time when players coming off contract can negotiate with other clubs if they want to do so. And no doubt you'll have a few players at Leeds who fall into that category. will you be making it a priority to look at their contracts and to make a decision on whether you want to keep them for next year? I assume that is a significant thing for you.
Yeah, certainly. Everyone likes to know what their future looks like. So it's understandable if players are looking to get their future locked up. As a club, we'll be looking to finalise or, push towards roster, fill in those spots. So initially it'll be understanding the individual situation, whether they're intending to stay or maybe the club's already had conversations. I'm not up to speed with that just yet. But yeah, certainly it'll be up to me to work through and understand each player's game strong enough to be able to make a decision, when the time's right.
And finally, from me, you've got 7 points at the moment, which you're a bit behind the teams in the top 6, but not so far behind that you can't catch up. I assume that your aim is to win the competition this year, because otherwise, what would be the point of coaching?
Well, the point of coaching is for the battle and the contest, and that's what we'll be very much looking at, is that competitive nature and really having a crack at playing some good team rugby, week to week, and seeing what each week can bring as far as learning opportunities and growing as a team and stringing some results together and see what happens.
Just in terms of something that's happened between your announcement and your arrival, the club have brought Zach Hardacre in. How involved were you with those conversations? How much of a role did you have in deciding whether he came to the club or not?
Well, that one was very much a club decision where a few of us spoke about that. I ended up having a conversation with Zach just so he understood where I was coming from and what we're looking to do. And he was very, very keen to be involved, and the club had already had some conversations with him even prior to the announcement, I believe. So, we all sort of got our heads together and it worked out. A little unfortunate, the situation that happened last week, but, hopefully all the testing will come back fine and he'll be back training in no time.
How much are you looking forward to working with him? Obviously, I imagine he's a player you know very well.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm looking forward to working with everyone. I love meeting new players and building those relationships and getting started. So yeah, certainly keen to start coaching Zach and get to know him and working out how we can play our best footy together.
I'm sure, as Matt said, it's a bit information overload at the minute with everything going on. But is there any update on his medical condition, or are we still waiting to find out what the sort of tests are looking like?
I've only got a very vague sort of overview that the first set of testing that he had was all positive results, meaning he's good. That was good news. And then I think there may be some other results waiting to be finalised or to be fed back, I think. Again, I'm hoping to get some update on that today or tomorrow.
Just finally from me, again, I know this is all very new and very current, but there's been a lot of press news about one of your players, Richie Myler. I know it's off-field matters and certainly nothing to do with rugby, but have you been made aware of this situation? Are you sort of overseeing it? What's your take on everything that's happening with Richie at the moment?
I've been made aware that there's something, but I'm not up to date with it.
I take it doesn't affect his selection status. I know he was injured before the break for the Cup. He's available as far as you're concerned? As far as I'm aware, he's available.
Just wondering, how many games have you been able to watch so far this season?
All bar one or two, I think. In the last couple of days, I've sort of been cramming on the flight and just before I left as well. So they're all in the blender at the moment, trying to process the path forward.
Were you quite encouraged by what you saw in the Toulouse and the Hull KR games?
Yeah, I think there's been real positive energy and application as a team, and they look like they're out there enjoying the battle together. So it was great to see everyone get rewarded for their hard work over the last little period.
You mentioned taking things week by week. Have you set an initial aim for what you'd like to achieve this season, or is it too early for that?
Yeah, that's way too early for me. But yeah, having our best crack at winning every week will be the intention.
Are you at Headingley now?
Yeah, I am.
Have you been to the stadium before?
I have been to the stadium multiple times, but not since it's been renovated and refurbed and upgraded.
Yeah, does it give you a sort of an indication of what a big club this is that you've come into?
Certainly, even just I've only just walked up the stairs out the back. I haven't been out for the tour yet. But yeah, certainly there's no illusions as to how big the opportunity is for sure, and how big a club it is. It's it's a privilege to be here.
Jamie Jones-Buchanan has been really big on culture. Do you have a definition of what culture is for you?
Culture is lots of things, but it's certainly that feeling and sense of connection and doing things for the greater good. You know, that's not about you; it's about the team and the club and those that came before and those that will come after us. You know, there's so much that goes into culture. Culture is pretty much everything, and doing things the right way, doing things with the right intention and caring. It's really hard to put into one phrase, but I'm certainly keen to catch up with Jamie and talk more about, you know, what he's been speaking to the boys about in recent times.
And you've signed a 3.5-year contract. I appreciate, you know, you haven't really met everybody yet, but do you have a long-term aim and a goal of what you'd like the club to look like at the end of that period?
Yeah, I'd like to be at the top by the end of that period, that's for sure.
We know Leeds they haven't had the best season so far. What are you going to do to kind of move forward?
Well, I believe there's been some good progress in recent performances. So, as I've said, looking to spend some time with the coaches tomorrow to plan the path forward, and then get started with the players on Thursday and get a gauge and get a feel for the situation and an understanding of what can be, you know, what I can have an influence on immediately, and some other things will be a more gradual or down the track process. You can't, as a coach, you know, most coaches are going into clubs in the preseason where they've got 3 or 4 months to build something new. This is sort of already in well down the path of construction this season, you know, so it's a matter of adjusting what we can, but also building on what we've already got.
Thank you. And what's your message to the fans? We know Leeds Rhinos have very loyal fans. You know, what's your message to them?
I look forward to being part of it and being a fan myself. Like, I want us to play a brand that makes people proud to come and watch and to get behind it, whether it's on TV, online, overseas, or in person at Headingley. You know, I want it to be, something that we're all proud of. The performance, the way we go about it, the way we behave, and the result at the end of it will be a positive more often than not.
I just wanted to ask you, first of all, I suppose, it must have been a really unusual week or so for you. What's it been like kind of the build up to this, and what do you hope you can have in terms of an impact in the short term? Like, it must be an unusual situation to walk into.
Yeah, it's been a crazy couple of weeks. I've been at my previous club. I was into my 5th season, and that was very much home for me. And I've left my wife and 3 kids at home, so getting things in a little bit in order for them to come over soon and join me, while trying to understand how things are at the club and understanding who's who and all that kind of stuff. There's been a lot going on, which is great, and it's a great opportunity that I have, and it's something that I strive to have this opportunity. So the impact, it's hard to know exactly. Like, I'm sure I'll be able to have an impact on some players, you know, immediately. Other players are going to take their time, you know, getting to know me or working out how I do things and stuff. So it's really hard to know the immediate impact. I'll have a positive vibe. I'm very big on giving the individual player what he needs, whether that's a conversation or a video or a pat on the back or a kick up, whatever they need is something that I believe in. So the impact will be, the story of that will be told down the track, I reckon.
Just in terms of your coaching staff, is everyone staying on, or is there anyone you bring with you?
No, the existing coaching staff are all staying on, and I'm excited to get to meet those guys and work together.
Yeah. Was there a temptation to bring your own staff with you, or were you happy with the coaches already in place?
No thought of bringing anyone in at this stage. Things have been going quite well, and in recent weeks, there's been some growth there, and the existing staff know the players better than I. So I'll be looking forward to leaning on them and learning from them. And as things go, they'll find their, where they fit with the way I do things as we go. There might be some adjustments there in roles, but I'm looking forward to meeting those guys.
Have you met Sean Long before? Do you know much? You obviously know him as a player. Do you know much about him as a person?
Yeah, I don't know Sean Long personally. No, just as a player.
Mm. And what did you make of him as a player? Do you think he can translate those skills, well, obviously into coaching?
Yeah, I've heard good things about him as a coach. Coaching and playing are vastly different things. But he was a very, very talented player, that's for sure. So I look forward to learning some things off him for sure.